Overpricing, scamming, tricking are unfortunately common scenarios in the tourist hubs across the world, and Cancun is no exception. The local walk team wants you to know what you're up against, so after extensive research and multiple chats with locals, Local Walk has been able to list out the main tourist traps in the area.
Local walk. That's right.
Taxi scams. The first thing you need to know is that Uber and other ride-sharing apps were just approved in January of 2023. And just like in other cities, taxi drivers did not like this decision and pushed back, in some cases even reacting aggressively. However, this happened only for a couple of days, and negotiations with the unions are being worked out. As of today, we do not recommend taking Ubers in the hotel zone, since taxi companies are monitoring the exits of hotels and the airport, and they will take action if they feel the rules are being broken. The second thing you need to know is that if you get on a taxi, they will most probably try to overcharge you. So what are the official rates? Well, the official rates were set by the government in 2019 for the last time. You can read the official mapping document and rates in the government's website. Unfortunately, it's not that simple, since real rates vary depending on where you take them and where you're going. So how to deal with this problem? From the airport. If you're going to the hotel zone, you will have to take a taxi or a shared shuttle, since the only bus that gets you out of there takes you downtown. Pre-booking your taxi is always the best option. Rates are usually negotiable 10 to 15% unless it's high season. Now there is a chance other vendors will tell you just about anything, yes even lies, to get you to take their service on your way out of the airport. Just say no gracias and move along. Remember, you will almost always be able to call or text your driver if you pre-book it. A link to a trusted vendor is provided. From the hotel zone to the hotel zone. If you're moving within the hotel zone, our best recommendation is taking the bus R1 or R2. R2 is nicer than R1. The cost is 12 pesos, but if you pay in dollars, they will most probably charge you the full dollar. The bus will take you up and down the hotel zone, which is only one street, so the chances of getting lost are slim. They can get really crowded during peak time, which is 5 to 8 p.m. Now, if you prefer a taxi, you will have to get one from a taxi hub, since it's really hard to get them on the street. Once you find one, ask for the established rate board. Taxis in the hotel zone have set rates depending on where you're going, which they usually have printed on a board. Ask for it always. It's important to note that even with a set price, rates are usually negotiable 10 to 20%. From downtown to anywhere. Downtown, you'll be able to find an Uber or Didi, a Chinese ride-sharing app which has a strong presence in Mexico. Taxis are cheaper downtown though, and you have 3 options to take them. 1. Taking them on the street. 2. Taking them on a taxi hub, or how they call it in Spanish, a sitio. Street taxis are cheaper but scarce at peak working hours, which are 7 through 9 a.m. and 5 through 8 p.m. Prices on these 2 options are negotiable 10 to 20% almost always. The third option is radio taxi, which is a WhatsApp service where you can text for a taxi at any time of the day as long as you're downtown. You can ask for prices up front by text, and you can pay with a credit card. Getting a person that speaks English might be a problem though. WhatsApp number and website in the description. Yes, the police. The first thing you need to know is there are 4 main types of police you will see in the streets of the Mexican Caribbean. 1. Policía de Quintana Roo, your average local police. 2. Guardia Nacional, which is a branch of the army that supports the local government in keeping citizens safe. 3. La Marina, the Marines, originally in charge of keeping the coast safe, but now also tasked to fight organized drug-related crime. 4. Tránsitos, the traffic and transit police. From all of these law enforcement groups, you really don't have to worry about the first 3 unless you get into some serious trouble. Tránsitos, though, are a little different. This is the branch of the police that monitors the street for traffic violations. It is common for locals and tourists to be scammed by tránsitos. The most common scenarios are when a tourist rents a car and gets stopped for any silly reason and is asked for money as a bribe to help them avoid apparent terrible consequences. The locals call it mordida, the bribe, and sadly, it's quite an accepted concept in the country. An average mordida deal is usually $30 to $50. They will probably ask for more, but they will almost always close the deal for less than $50. How to avoid the extortion? The official transit rules are published in the state government's website, which you can access using the link in the description. However, it's in Spanish and it's over 50 pages long, which can make it hard for some people to understand. But don't worry, the truth is that rules here in Mexico are quite similar to any other places. The speed limit is 60 to 70 kilometers per hour in the city depending on where you are, 100 kilometers per hour in highways, and 20 kilometers per hour in ramps, school zones, and other sensitive areas. Although not a rule in the book, I have also heard complaints of people being stopped because they are going too slow, so we suggest also going over 40 kilometers per hour when applicable. Now, from the entire rulebook, there is one very important paragraph that you need to have very present when driving in the area. In page 47, you'll find the chapter 17, in which Article 241 explains that if you're a tourist, you're allowed to 2 minor infractions a year without penalty. Therefore, tránsitos should let you go with just a warning. Finally, please remember in Mexico the law is more flexible than in other countries, so always try to be nice to the police. And if an argument is unavoidable, remember to video record the whole thing. Fake tours. Anyone and everyone sells tours in Cancun. A quick walk through Plaza Forum will overflow you with offers of all sorts of activities by salesmen that will tell you just about anything to close the sale. However, needless to say, not everything they promise is true. Actually, the internet is full of complaints of fraudulent companies that took the money from tourists and did not deliver. Scams occur so often that organizations and even the Mexican government have created websites with lists of over 100 fraudulent companies to increase awareness. The state government often publishes in their social media the phone numbers of fake companies. They also recently tasked the cyber police to monitor and bring down travel agency websites that can pose a risk for customers. Try to buy your tickets through your trusted travel sites and make sure the website company, not the actual tour guide, will back up your payment in case something bad happens. We added a few trusted vendors in the description. The most common scams are 1. Fake tours and hotel sales online. 2. Transportation included when you buy a tour. Sounds great, but not always. Some travel companies don't care how many stops your bus needs to make as long as they fill their van and make the trip worth it. Sometimes it can even take us twice as much time to get to your destination. 3. Hidden fees to get charged automatically at a later point in time. To create a report of a scam, please email the local police at denuncia ciudadana cibernética @policiaquintanarro.com.mx. Super expensive insurance or additional fees when renting a car. This is a scam that not only happens in Cancun. People will rent a car online, and when they pick it up, they will tell you there is additional insurance that needs to be paid, which is obviously even more expensive than the actual rent of the car. Our advice is to either call them to confirm no other expenses will be charged before you pay, or simply wait till you get there. Unless you go in peak season, there will be cars available. The link of a trusted vendor is added in the description. Timeshare. If you like to travel, you've probably heard of timeshare, local customer memberships, or whatever creative name the hotel sales team assigns to making you prepay for your vacation. This does not only happen in Cancun, but in any other major tourist hub in the world. Is it a scam? Sometimes. Some are good offers, but some are just good old-fashioned, well-trained scams by incredibly smart salesmen. You need to understand, these people are trained to make any deal look good, even if that means stretching the truth a bit. A simple Google search around the topic will show you hundreds of complaints all over the internet of people claiming they just can't get out of a contract they never fully understood. And complaints are on companies not fulfilling the promised terms. How to distinguish the good from the bad? It's really hard, since all of them will sound amazing. You suggest staying away from these offers completely, even if they give you free stuff, which is obviously never really for free. You'd be surprised how these salespeople can go from being your best friends to your worst enemy as soon as you push back a bit. If you really want to buy them, find out the name of the organization that is selling you the deal. It'll be in your contract. Google search complaints about such company, thoroughly review them, and then make a decision. Scams when renting yachts. Renting a yacht or a boat is a great way to visit the area. However, since payments are pretty large and clients are usually not very familiar with yachting, it's easy for salesmen to take advantage of their knowledge and not give you the best deal. Always try to negotiate a discount of 10 to 15%. There is a scam, well known by locals, in which a salesman offers you a specific boat of a certain quality, and when you get there, they end up giving you some other cheaper boat with the excuse that the original one broke down. However, the truth is the salesman never even had access to the boat, but they didn't want to lose you as a client. Let them know you're aware of the scam, and tell them you will want your money back if you don't get exactly what you paid for. It's important to note, all boats are rented by brokers or independent salesmen, which means 3 things. 1. If you complain about them in social media, it really hurts their business, so you can use that as a weapon if you're having a bad experience. You can always mention you're very active in social media and would hate to leave them a bad review. 2. It'll be really hard for you to get your entire money back if something goes wrong. Brokers need to pay the owner of the boat in advance to book it, and the former will rarely accept losing some of their own money because of you. 3. There isn't a very large number of yachts for rent in Cancun, which means that everyone is renting the same boats, so it should be easy to negotiate if you go to more than one company. We have selected a couple of trusted vendors and added their website on the description. ATM trap. There are 2 types of ATMs in Cancun. 1, the bank-owned. 2, the ATM that will have very high fees. Always use bank-owned ATMs. If you're one of those persons that really likes to prepare for your trip, find out which Mexican bank has some type of treaty with yours. Usually US banks have Mexican affiliates which will charge you no fees when withdrawing money. A Google search of banks in Mexico with American affiliates will most probably tell you in seconds which is your best option in Mexico. That said, 90% of the businesses accept credit cards, so don't worry too much if you're not carrying cash.